السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اليوم بنستعرض تفاصيل الانهانسمنت اللي صار على جزئية العناوين. بنبتدي في البداية بس بنحدد لكم التغييرات الأساسية اللي صارت في أي موديلز بتكون في الأنظمة. فأول موديل بيصير عليه تغيير هو في وقت creating Okay, we're just starting our presentation by showing the main modules that will have the impact of the address change. The first module is creating the building permit module in BENAYAT system that will be created by the engineering office. And the second module is creating the address request within the other services providing after obtaining the building permit. It's also created by the engineering office through BENAYAT system. And the last module, it will be in the address request. It's a module in the system related to the, that will be handled by the address team and an IGA to approve the system and تصاريح systems. Here we'll just show you a list of all the scenarios that will be covered in the new enhancement. The first scenario is consisting of more than one main entrance that contains of multi-units to it under one building. For example, that we have one building that has more than one flat and offices. So one entrance will be associated with the flats, for example, in floor number 1, and the other entrance will be for the offices in floor number 2. And for the second scenario, the address will be not applicable for the buildings in these two cases. The first case is the compound with villas and majlis. So here the majlis will not require to issue a separate address for this majlis. And for case number 2, if there is a separate security room outside of the flats building in the same project, so the security room will not require to issue a separate address. And the next scenario will be units within a building that do not require an address. And the next scenario is if you're required to add an entrance without any units in the project. And the last scenario will be adding one unit building with an internal address, the building with the shops on the ground floor with independent entrance, and there is another entrance for the building along with one flat in the first floor. This unit will require an internal address for one unit building. Now we will move directly to BENAYAT system, and we will see exactly the changes that will happen in the new enhancement and the building permit request. Here in the initial page, here there will be no any changes, but here we need to highlight that for the address count, you need to enter the total number of addresses required, addressable and non-addressable, and including the gate entrance of the building. So, for example, if you have a building with 4 flats, so you have here to count all the flats along with the entrance. And you have to enter the project description and usage and nature. These information should be accurate. And here in the building property tab, there will be one tab added here on this page that you can set the design model to be addressable or not. And here you have to be careful that if you set the design model as addressable, so when you enter the units under this design model, there should be at least one addressable unit under this building model. And if you set it here as non-addressable, you have to note that all the units under this building model should be non-addressable. And here, after adding all the building models, the table will be shown on the top of the page. And here there's one information will be added for the addresses. Is it required or not? So you can see it here. It will be yes or no. Now we will move directly to the next change. It will be within the engineering data, especially in the electrical load. Here, when you want to enter the unit's details, first of all, you have to select the building model associate. And here, if the building model you selected from the beginning, that it will be addressable. So here, when you enter all the building unit details, you can here select that it can be addressable or non-addressable. And here, if the building model you selected from the beginning that it will be addressable, here you should at least add one or more addressable building units. And if you did not add any addressable unit, this message will be shown that you have to at least enter one addressable unit. And here another example of non-addressable building design model. Here in gate number 2, we address it as non-addressable building design. So here all the building units that will be entered, all of them will be non-addressable, and this tab will not be editable. You can change it to yes, all of them will be no. And here, after adding all the building units under the building model, you will see them here as a table. And here also you will see if the address is required or no, yes or no, as per your data entered in the page. And here there will be no change in the building point. Here you have to put the building point in the accurate location on the shown map here. So there is no change. It will be the same as the previous and what is available currently in the system. And even here on this page, there will be no change. You can here select the design model and enter the unit details as per what is available now in the system. And here you have to make sure that the red tag here, it will be transferred to green here. So you know that all the units are successfully added. Here there will be one new tab added here in the system called building entrance. And this map here, you can add the building entrance for each building, but you have here to make sure that the entrance will be added for the addressable buildings only. So if there is a building that is considered as non-addressable, you will not be able to add any entrance for it. For example, here in this picture, you will see, for example, building number 1. We consider it as addressable. So here we can press on add, and here we can enter the address, the entrance sign. After inserting the entrance sign here on the bottom side of the page, you will see here on the top the details of the addressable buildings. For example, here we have building number 1. We call it entrance 1, and here we have to select the entrance associate for this addressable unit. So, for example, here building number 1, which is entrance number 1. Here we can select that entrance number 1 will be associated with this building. And here in the bottom, we will see all the non-addressable units. And for the non-addressable units, for example, flat number 2 here, we have to associate every non-addressable unit to an addressable unit. For example, here we have flat number 2. From here, this tab, when we press it, we will see all the addressable units available in this project. And for example, here in this example, we will select entrance number 1. So we will connect flat number 1, which is non-addressable unit, with entrance number 1, which is an addressable unit. And now we will move to the address request in the other services. Here, when you want to proceed with the other services after obtaining your building permit, you will press this button here in the actions. And here, when you move to the addresses tab, you will see the screenshots here, and there will be you will see all the entrance and all the building points that you already entered. And here you can edit the information as per your need. And after checking this map, you will check all the information here and press on submit. So here you will see a list of all the buildings added and the status of the request for the addresses will be pending. And here you can submit the request. After that, the request will be shipped to the Sarih system where the addresses team can review and approve the request. Now we will move directly after approving the request by the addresses team in the Sarih system. We will go back to your screen in BENAYAT system where you can proceed with the addresses payment and clearance. So here, when you access BENAYAT system, you will see that the record is actually approved. So now you can click on proceed to payment to proceed with the payment and to clear the address. So after completing your payment, the request will be updated to cleared, and the address will be updated in both the address system EMS and even the CRS system. The address will be updated, and a notification will be sent to the address plate company. And after that, the address certificate can be downloaded. Here we will see the two examples of the request. For example, this request is a single unit building example. The status will be here cleared, and you can print the entrance and the address certificate. In this example, we will have multi-unit building. So here you can see the addressable unit. It will be cleared, and from here you can print the entrance or print all the units. And here in the table shown below, you will see all the non-addressable units and the status of all the non-addressable units. And here you can print each non-addressable unit separately. Now we will proceed to the live system, and we will show you these changes on the actual BENAYAT system. Here you can see the electrical load page. So here, as you all know, that we have to select the required building model. For example, building number 1 was the addressable unit. And here we will enter all the requirements for the building unit associated with building number 1. And here we will just enter a random number for the testing here. And the area associated here is random number. And for the first building model, we will add here 4 addressable units. So here we will not change the tab in the address. So here it can be changeable, but now we will add 4 addressable units. And now we will enter the electrical load associated with this building model. And the entrance here will just be a random number for the testing purposes. And here we have to add the entrance for this building model. Since this building model is an addressable building model, so we have to enter the units and we have to enter the entrance as a separate row. So here in the top page, we will see a table of all the added building units under this chosen building model here. We'll see them here as a table with the address required as entered, and here you can update the row if needed. Now we will move to the building model number 2, building 2. Here we set this building to be non-addressable. So here, while adding this details for the building unit, the address required can't be editable. Even if I press on it, it won't be changed. So here for this building, we will add also 4 non-addressable units. And here we will add the electrical information associated with this request. And here we entered the information of the non-addressable building model, and it will be shown here on the top. And here we don't need to enter an entrance for the non-addressable building model. So now we will proceed to the next step. And now we will place the building point for each building added. We added the first building point, and now we will add the second building point. This will happen exactly as what's happening now in the system. There is no change here related to the building points. And now we will enter the building unit information related to building number 1, which is the addressable unit. And now we will move to the next tab, which is the new tab added here. Here you can see the building points that were added previously, and now in this tab we will add the building entrance associated with each building, with each addressable building added. We will press on add and then select the addressable building points. And we will add the entrance for the building already selected, and we will choose here the address usage of this building and the road number. After entering all the information of the addressable building, we can press on submit. And after pressing on submit, the tables on the bottom will be generated. Here on the top, you will see the addressable buildings, which is here entrance number 1. And here in this tab, we will associate this building, which is the addressable building, with the entrance that we already added it in the map on the top. And after updating this information here, we will go down to all the non-addressable units added, which is the flats here. And we will associate this non-addressable unit to an addressable building, which is here that we have the entrance number 1. And here in this page, we will be able to view the electrical load for each addressable or non-addressable unit. Then we can press on select. And here in the water and storage tab, there will be no change. You can add the information as you have now in the current system. And here you can go and proceed with attaching any further attachment required. And from this perspective, the engineering data, this is the highlighted change regarding the address enhancement. And now we will move to show you the page of the address requests available in the other services after obtaining the building permit. Here you will be, when you press on the addresses, and here you will see the map and all the associate building points and entrance icons that you already entered in the previous stages. And here you can just view them and update them if required. And even here in the bottom side of the page, you will see the same view of the previous page as the entrance page. You will see the addressable units and the entrance unit associated with the entrance unit and all the non-addressable units and the associate units as you entered previously. And here you can update if needed. And here you can write any comments you wish. And you can upload any attachment required, and after that you can submit the request. After submitting the request here, the request will be sent to the Sarih system and will be viewed and updated by the address of the staff. And after approving the system there, the request will come back to BENAYAT system, and you will see the updated request, and you can proceed with the payment. There is any questions related to the updates?
Jawahar, are we taking the questions now or at the end of the session? Khalas, are we done?
Yes, we're done from our side. This is all for the address enhancements.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jawahar. Dears, if there are any questions available in this regard, please approach. Otherwise, you can always send an email to benayat@iga.government.gov.ph with detailed questions in regards of addresses, enhancements, and BENAYAT.
At the end of
So,
the session, we will share a survey for all the attendees where they can provide their opinion And at the end of the survey, there is a section that they can add any enhancement required or any suggestion. And we will look with over all the suggestions that will be provided in the survey.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And if we can as well get the material of the presentation so that we can circulate it as well to the engineering offices. Anyway, dears, if there are no questions to be raised, I guess that's it. We can wrap the workshop for today. Thank you so much at IGA. Thank you, Jawahar, and everyone. Thank you all for attending. And I can see a question by Abir, if I'm not mistaken. Please go ahead before we end the workshop.
Yes, how are you? I would ask for sometimes we have problems with addresses after we finish. Like for the gym, we don't know the gym it's correct. It will be in the addresses or no. Can be addresses come with planning and route in the pre-approval in the first stage.
The concept of BENAYAT, my dear, that pre-approval entities are the only entities involved into beginning to execute anything within the parcel number, parcel land. And therefore, addresses should be at a later stage once the entities of service connectivity has examined the application and review it and agreed whether to provide the services or not, if that's to answer your question. I can see another question here by
Zainab.
Ms. Zainab. Yes, please.
I have a question. If I have, for example, like a club and I want a separate address card for like an indoor playground, is that it can be done يعني through this technique or?
Jawahar, if you have, do you have an answer?
بس السؤال ما كان واضح، الصوت ما كان واضح.
Again, Ms. Zainab, please.
For example, if I have like a club and there is an indoor playground, يعني using this technique, can I issue a separate address card to this playground inside the building?
So you want to issue a separate address card for the playground within the gym, or it's a separate? It is. You mean for the gym or for separate playground?
Separate playground. So it will be one address for the entire building and one for the playground. It can be done.
Playground is considered as non-addressable unit within the building, right?
يعني the playground is a component one of the whole project. صح
Yes.
زينب؟
صح.
Therefore مثل ما قالت لك جواهر it's a non-addressable unit while it's within the project. يعني في main project في main address حق البروجكت و therefore اليونت inside should be اللي هو non-addressable اللي هي نعتبرها احنا خدمات ممكن تنعطى عليها. أعتقد جواهر أو يفيدونا الجماعة في العناوين نوع ثاني من العناوين اللي هو البليتس حتى تختلف لونها صح؟
Okay, so the only procedure that I can approach is issuing one address card for the main building, then apply for separating like a usual. يعني I cannot apply from the beginning to separate them because it's non-addressable, right?
See in this page, when the address is actually approved and paid, from here in this page, for this example here, you will see that you can print the certificate for the addressable unit, and you can pay separate certificates for all the units associated with the main addressable unit. Is this answers your questions?
But as you said, the playground is considered as unaddressable, right? Or it can be addressable. It depends on the
nature of the units. It depends on your estimation on the building. Is it addressable or non-addressable?
So if from beginning I considered as a addressable, I can issue a separate address card, right? Is that what you are trying to say?
For this matter, I think the address team will help you more in specifying, is this unit considered addressable or non-addressable?
Okay, thank you very
But
much.
through the system, as shown here, you can print
Separately.
separate certificate for each building, and each building associate with the main addressable unit.
Okay, thank you very
Zainab,
much.
here, this depends on you. In the stage of applying for the project, يعني at the beginning you will define whether how many units you have and how many modules and etc. And accordingly, you will be able to at later stage pick the addresses to it. If you have mentioned that those addresses are being separated, means it's an addressable unit, means at later stage you will be able to apply for an address. If you did not mention that it's a major unit or it's a separate unit and you want it wasn't defined in the application, at the end you will find that the addresses are being اللي هو considered non-addressable because it's not the main address. As mentioned by Jawahar as well, the addresses team can clarify this point clearly. So you can always refer to them or send them an email or contact them by the contacts we have provided you previously with.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Habibti. Jawahar, there are some questions in the chat. If you may go through them, please.
There is a question raised regarding the addressable and non-addressable units. Muhandisa Hazar, I think, and I believe, this segregation should be chosen by the engineers. And we are just providing this function in the system, so it will facilitate to enter your requirements based on the entity. So I don't think that I can provide the addressable and non-addressable units.
True. Again, we recommend that you guys go to the address unit, address section, and clarify whether you can separate the addresses, and accordingly you will be able to know which are the addresses that are we considered addressable, means the main address, or non-addressable, which is يعني a correspondence or another address that is secondary in the project. في بعد another question, Jawahar, which is if we would like to add address after the permit, the action will be adding them in the address section. Hi, basically this is what happens for the application. يعني if you go through the application, you will be able to request for addresses once the building permit is cleared, or we call it issued. means after payment. Emails, you can also send us an email with detailed questions as mentioned before.
There is also one questions regarding Tasarih system. I just need to clarify this Tasarih system is the backend system for the governmental entities associated with reviewing the building permit services applied through BENAYAT. So the system is not associated with the engineering offices. It will be for the employees working in the associate entities regarding the building permit services.
Exactly, and Tasarih does not provide such information. Tasarih is the platform where the entities can go and approve whatever requests you apply for within the permit. Again, we are saying the informations of the addresses can be provided by the section of addresses at CIO. أعتقد we're good here, Jawahar.
Abdullah, though, if you can just give me the chance just to
Of course, حياك
elaborate
Abdullah.
further. First of all, I would like to thank you, Abdullah, for giving us this chance to demonstrate the new enhancements and for arranging for this workshop. وجواهر بعد يعني thank you very much for the fruitful demonstration. It's just to make it simple for the users of BENAYAT, what are we trying to achieve by these enhancements? As you see, there are a number. Once we initiated the service of the addresses, we noticed later on that there are some issues which prevent us to, some addresses are not issued by the system. There were some missing scenarios there that will cause to initiate some of the request addresses manually. And therefore, it is causing also issues later on with the service connectivity and the construction follow-up. So what we are trying to achieve is to include all these scenarios. So in this period, nearly maybe 2 years, we were collecting all of these scenarios which were missing. And we tried now to add them all. So basically now the engineering office will be able to specify exactly in his project the modules which require address, the module which doesn't require an address. Even in the same building, they will be able to assign the addressable units and non-addressable units. There are certain examples, like for example, the compounds. Most of the cases, compounds might have, for example, 4 villas with main entrance and a majlis, for example. Most of the cases, this majlis doesn't have a separate address. The address will comes with the main entrance. And when we say address, how we know whether this unit or module is addressable? It's all based on the also related to the service connectivity, whether it will have a separate EWA bill or not. So we can know this thing. But the main thing that we need to consider while applying for these projects, to know exactly these details, because as you know, we noticed that most of the issues which comes that the user is choosing any units and applying for the request, and later he will face a problem when he reach to the address stage. So that's why we want to just make sure that whenever you apply for a project, you should be aware of these information. What are the units which will have an address, which ones that will not have an address. If there are an internal unit, there will be related to which address is it for the main entrance. You can add another entrance. So the user who's going to apply should know these details. Otherwise, as mentioned by Engineer Hazar, you can ask anytime. You have different channels. You may contact the addresses, you may contact BENAYAT technical support email. Make sure that before applying for the project, you know these details, especially the usage natures and the property usage, because most of the issues are coming because the user is choosing anything and later on they will complain that they are facing issues while and delay while applying for these services. You have to make sure from the beginning from these details. So if anyone has any questions, please, يعني, feel free. We are here to answer. I will try to have also additional workshops like that. Maybe in the future we may have it even in person, just to get your feedback, just to make sure that everyone is aware of how to use the system. Marim Abdallah, is there any questions or
I see raised hands, and there are some raised hands, and there are some questions in the chat as well. Let me see the raised hands. Yeah, go ahead, please. في المهندس. Yeah.
المهندس, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. That is what exactly we mean. Now, what we're facing is that we don't know exactly what tasarih gives for addressable and non-addressable. So for us to initiate an address, this is the main problem we're facing now after issuing the building permit. Because when we put something addressable and then it goes to the address department, they come back and they tell us, well, this is not addressable as per our list. Now, that is what we mean by having their list of addressable and non-addressable. That's the only way that we can be successfully getting the addresses without returning the permit and resubmitting. Because honestly, that's what I thought that the modification will help with. But if we're going to still add what we think can be addressable and what we think that we cannot be addressable without their approval, that will, for me, it will not help me to get through the addresses smoothly without getting any problem later on when after issuing the building permit. So I don't know if tasarih can be part of this, or at least we can get the pre-approval of before issuing the building permit, so that we don't need to reissue or resubmit the building permit after getting the permit itself. I don't know if that's clear.
هو clear. Thank you for your concern, but the problem we cannot give you a proper list with having, it's not a straightforward, you know. It depends on the project.
Don't they take that? Then why don't they have the access to edit if it is any addressable and non-addressable from the consultant that is not matching the requirement?
Okay, so let me just explain. And now in the normal projects, for example, you have a villa, it's straightforward. You know that villa will have, for example, one address. If you have a building with several units, you should know which units will have a separate EWA bill and which one don't have, and usually they don't give. But in most of the cases, it depends on the nature of the project and the area of the project, of the property usage. So it's not as straightforward. That's why we are saying before applying in these projects, because most of the projects are straightforward, but whenever it comes to a project where you are not sure, just raise an email. I mean, for sure, within 2 to 3 days, I think maximum, you will get the answer before even applying. Don't go and apply and just assign any usage natures, and later on you will complain why I'm not getting the address. Why I'm telling you that? Changing it at the later stages, because whenever you assign these units in the building permit stage, you are here also calculating the diversity factor and electricity requirements. Changing it at later stage will affect even the electricity approval. So we cannot go and change it at that stage. It will affect the approval which is already given. The diversity factor, when you choose, for example, residential, is different than commercial.
Exactly.
So at a later, that's why I'm saying if you are not sure, you can raise a question. You can consult the addresses. You can consult us. When you talk about tasarih, it's not like it's something the system will give. Tasarih, you are talking about IGA's addresses side. So when they receive it, it depends on the nature of the project. So what I recommend before applying in these cases, I mean, most of the cases, they are straightforward, you will know. But in some of these cases, whenever you have a doubt, just raise your question, send it by mail. I think already municipalities engineers are there to answer you. IGA's addresses are there also. Most of the engineering offices are visiting them, communicating with them. So yeah.
Sorry, but can I give you a small example? Now I have a building, okay, that the addresses has been going on and on because they are asking. This building is mixed use. It's a straightforward building, mixed use, residential, commercial. We have applied it as a commercial building with residential uses wherever applicable. They ask us to remove the roof and put it as a guard room. Okay, we have done that. And then when we went to BENAYAT to choose the guard room, because guard room, the address is connected to the main building address. Okay, so that then when we choose the guard room, the electricity tell us guard room cannot be used, left cannot be used for guard rooms. We cannot remove the left. I'm just giving you a small example. This is not the place also to discuss, but I'm just saying there are small things that takes the project very long until we get an address card, which was previously been issued in 2-3 days because they were approaching تصاريح directly. So that is my main concern. No, I don't know. I think that a lot of engineering offices are having the same problem. And I think you guys have already received a lot of comments on that. So approaching تصاريح before submitting for building permit, it's not that easy to get the responses at the same time. Believe me or not, there are projects that are taking 2 months only to get the address code for. And I have been and the BENAYAT team knows that. I have been going forward and coming between the emails until we get a proper answer that, so for example, تصاريح will give me one answer, I'm going to apply their answer, then BENAYAT is clashing with what they are telling, and then electricity is clashing with, you know what I mean, that all the entities should be working together so that if I change the usage, for example, in the system now, when I go to the service connectivity at the end of the project, electrical department EWA will come and tell me, well, why did you put in BENAYAT residential when the building is commercial? If I tell them تصاريح told me to change it, they will tell me this is not our problem. We are different than تصاريح. And تصاريح is saying the same, and BENAYAT is saying the same. I'm being honest with you guys because we are facing actually those type of problems in BENAYAT system with the addresses. So I don't know if of course, we will give it a try and we will try the new system and I hope it works.
In the end, we are working on enhancing the full system. It's not only the addresses. Also, we are working at the same time with municipalities, with IGA addresses and EWA, also to update. Yani soon we are going to update the full lookup of usage natures, the property usage. So we know there are few issues there. So we are working on enhancing them. And as you mentioned, if you see that giving you a list of usages which or let's say units addressable and not addressable, this will make your job more easy. I cannot promise, but we will see with our also يعني other stakeholders how if we may help you on that. inshallah يعني we'll work on it inshallah.
Thank you.
inshallah. اوكي الحين اماني مهندسة اماني الزوري. You have a question?
أماني مهندسة أماني زري. We can go to أنوار أبو عبد الله until أماني answers.
اوكي مستر انوار.
مرحبا.
مرحبا.
السلام عليكم.
يا هلا.
يعطيكم العافية. I have a question regarding the units that we add to the BENAYAT system, knowing that they should not have an address, but at the same time they have thermal installation details and glass details that we need to enter to the website. So my question is, do we start ignoring the units, for example, clubhouse in an RG compound, or let's say a guard room, electrical rooms, a majlis, for example? All of these do not have addresses, but when we enter it to BENAYAT, we would rather enter it as a separate unit because it has its own thermal insulation. So should we add it this way and then later on we can not assign an address for it? Or should we just merge all the thermal information of all the sites, small units and buildings to one thermal, even though it will not make sense much to the thermal department? That's my question.
هو اختي أماني currently in the current system what you are using now, whatever an addressable module or unit, you usually combine it with other addressable module or unit. But what this new enhancement, you will not need to do that. You will be very specific in the project. You may input all the modules you have, even the ones that are not addressable, and later on you will see whether this requires an address or not. Even though you can even add the electrical load of these unaddressable, and later on you will map it with the other unit which will be having this, I mean combining this electrical load with it. يعني for example, if you have a compound with 4 villas and 1 majlis, if the majlis doesn't have an electrical, I mean a separate address, you may add it there as a model, assigning it as a non-addressable model, with assigning even the electrical load. But later on, you are going to map it with the main entrance. So it will give you this flexibility.
Okay, but EDD will understand that this is not addressable, so it will follow,
of course,
entrance 1.
Of course, of course. Hey,
okay.
You will be able to do that, yeah. You want even the addresses also at IG. Hey.
Okay, that will make things a little bit better, inshallah. Thank you.
Well, this is the reason, يعني, instead of going and doing this workaround, I can understand that most of you are doing some workarounds just to move on with the request, but in this new enhancement, you will not need to do that. You will be very specific to assign, I mean, to input all these details there.
تمام. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No worries. ماري أظن مي شريد كانت رافعيتها أظن.
مي
شنو شفتيها ماري؟ أوكي.
أماني موجودة؟
الحين توها أماني أظن اللي تحكيت.
هذه أنوار.
أوكي.
Please lower your أماني still raising بس ما أشوف في answer. Amani, you're trying to talk to us because we're not hearing you. ما نسمع. I think you have a problem or something. We can't hear you. خلاص. I guess that's it, Abdullah. No more raised hands for questions. We have already mentioned that for any further queries, they may send it to us on the email. Other than that, we may wrap it up. Thank you all. Thank you all for everything. Hopes you have gained much from this fruitful workshop. Inshallah, see you at further workshops, and be safe all. Thank you so much. مع السلامة.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. Thanks for all.